All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people out there just like you right there, just like me right here. So, Bruce Springsteen's manager has decided to weigh in and justify those dynamic ticket prices. Mr. Blue Collar, Bruce Springsteen, the working class hero, the man who slings his guitar on his back as he plays for 4 hours straight, showing how much he loves the working class, has tickets selling for as much as $5,000. Remember when Tom Petty, a true working class hero, by the way, in my estimation, compared to Bruce Springsteen, but Tom Petty was outraged that people had to spend like a buck more on his album when it came out. I think it was Hard Promises back in the early 80s. And he was really upset at the record label. And he's like, look, you're charging too much, because Tom knew how much everything, cost to make. And he understood how much of a profit margin he was making. And so he spoke out, and guess what the record label did? They ended up lowering prices. In this case, you know what you get? You get John Landau, who is Bruce Springsteen's manager, going out there and saying, look, we're right in the market. Where everybody else is, that's where we are. And look, I'm a capitalist. You might be a capitalist. I'm for the free market. This is this is the free market with artificial intelligence and a bit of the Wall Street casino thrown in, because they're operating everything on an algorithm. Say the Springsteen tickets weren't selling. The algorithm wouldn't kick in and inflate the ticket prices the way the algorithm is designed to do. If ticket prices, if tickets aren't selling, prices might actually go down on some of those tickets. But what happens is demand, and this is why they're saying, look, supply and demand. These tickets are selling, thus the algorithm is making it more difficult for people to get that last 11% of tickets, which supposedly is, the controversial part is only the 11%. That most tickets are selling for under $200, which I still think is too expensive, by the way. I think the average ticket price is something like $262. So it's you and your wife. You want to go see Bruce Springsteen. That's not me, by the way. You're looking to start at like $550, but then you have fees, then you have parking, then you might have a hotel room depending on where you have to go. You're talking, I get it though. See, this is a new age, and I am not adapting well to it. People say, well, you just have to, with so many different things, you have to catch up with us. You're behind the times. Okay, yes, count me in as being behind the times. So you're looking at $600, $700, $800 average to go see Springsteen and not suffer too much. And then you have to sit through what, 3 hours, 4 hours of Springsteen? I'm just saying. I'm not a big fan. Look, Springsteen used to be this populist working class hero. He used to be. But anybody who supports candidates like Hillary Clinton for president, seriously, Hillary Clinton, who called most working class people in this country deplorables, a basket of deplorables. So Springsteen, by proxy, supports the idea that the people who he used to sing to, he used to write songs for, okay, he thinks those people are deplorables now. And look, we all know who wants to go see Springsteen. People on the East Coast, people on the West Coast. Yeah, he'll sell tickets in every major city because those cities are filled with people who believe what Bruce Springsteen and Hillary Clinton believe. All right. Now, if you think that's a stretch that I made, look at Springsteen's Super Bowl commercial from what, a couple of years ago, I think, or maybe last year. I can't even remember. I don't even know if I watched the Super Bowl, but I did remember seeing the commercial either before or after the Super Bowl, because everybody was making a big deal about how Bruce was trying to bring people together and so forth. And it was nothing more than mindless propaganda. Like, he's in the middle. Remember Bruce Springsteen? He's in the middle. No, he's not in the middle. He's on the neoliberal left-hand side of the political spectrum, and his thinking has not evolved over the years. All of these guys who used to be kind of anti-establishment, anti-war, I'm sure Bruce Springsteen thinks that we should give, billions of dollars to Ukraine. Wasn't it cool to see, what is it, Vladdy Zelensky and his wife on the cover of some fashion magazine yesterday? Because that's what you do when you're under siege, right? You pose for pictures. This whole thing is ridiculous. I mean, it's like war. Funding a war is pop culture. And we're going to show everybody how brave and how beautiful these people are. Oh, man. I mean, if they can get out of there before their country collapses, I'm thinking that they've got jobs probably already lined up on like MSNBC. That's probably what's going to happen to them. So let's get back to this ticket pricing controversy. Bruce Springsteen manager says, regardless of the commentary about a modest number of tickets costing $1,000 or more, our true average ticket price has been in the mid 200 range. I believe that in today's environment, that is a fair price to see someone universally regarded as among the very greatest artists of his generation. Universally regarded. Yeah. I don't know about that there, John, but okay, we'll use your verbiage. He's one of the greatest of all time, according to you, John, and thus it justifies people breaking the bank, people who are suffering under close to double-digit inflation, people who are now within a recession, even though the government has redefined what that means in order to make it not sound as bad. John, we will take you at your word. Anyway, Springsteen's manager, again, is getting heat from fans. Statistics, which went to Variety magazine, indicated that the majority of tickets that had already been sold, that's 88.8%, had been sold at fixed values between $60 and $400 before fees. Okay, so I'm wondering where that $60 ticket is, if it's actually in the building or if it's outside somewhere, or could be behind a pole. You're not going to see anything, the $60 ticket. I mean, 60 to 400. That's quite a range. And yes, if you average that range out, it's 200 something bucks. All right. Of course, it's before fees. That's considered reasonable in the current market. The Ticketmaster stats showed only 11.2% of tickets had been platinum tickets, subject to the skyrocketing costs that raised the fans' ire. Ticketmaster further said that the average price of all tickets sold in the first 3 days of on sales was $262, which is still way too much. The service reported that a majority of tickets, 56%, were priced at under $200. But of course, many fans have fixated on the dynamically priced tickets that are left over and come up in a search after the fixed priced tickets all sell out in the first hour or so each time an on sale occurs. So this is an important point. So you're not able to break through, right? The system is busy. The website is stuck, it's just giving you the hourglass. You're trying to order these tickets and it says, sorry, our system is busy. Try again later. And you try again later, and that $60 ticket you were trying to get is now $160. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I can't afford this. Look, people, the fact that this article and all articles about Springsteen are apologetic, you know, that some fans are upset, some fans, and this isn't really a big deal because this is fair market value. So all of a sudden, these people are raging capitalists, right? They're just, yeah, this is great. We're making tons of money. This shows you too how far the concert industry has fallen as a way to, connect the artist with the fans who over the years purchased lots of stuff, may have gone to concerts before, bought CDs, bought albums, bought cassettes, bought t-shirts, bought into the whole Springsteen aura of he's the working class guy. He's super intelligent. He's smarter than most rock stars. He's blue collar as all get out, right? Even though he lives where? In a mansion somewhere in New Jersey. I don't even know where he lives, but I'm just guessing. Okay. All of this is BS, and the fact that this becomes an issue, the only reason it becomes an issue is because a few people raise the issue and then the media goes on attack, basically saying, look, hey, this is what you're going to pay for every ticket. Look what they're charging for that ridiculous stadium tour where we hear now that it's a drum track. Someone sent me, I think it was Jonesy, sent me the notification about the drum tracks that are fake. And I guess the drummer, what's his name there? Oh, Tommy Lee. I forgot, I'm getting old. Tommy Lee, the drums started before he did. Like he wasn't behind the kit yet and drums started and he had to catch up with the drums that weren't actually him because they're a drum track. Yeah, and people are just going to shell out money. Folks, find a bar somewhere where there's a good local band, right? Banging out songs, whether it's their own material or whether it's a cover band, a tribute band, whatever. Find some live local musicians who know how to play their instruments, who you can pretty much rely on are actually playing their music live. I mean, it's crazy where we've gone. Now I understand because of age and big contracts that you have to make sure that this goes off as it's supposed to. So if there needs to be a drum track because the drummer can barely play drums, remember supposedly he had broken ribs, that's what we do. And people just buy into it. People just want to see the event, okay? But I'm thinking to myself, this just isn't worth it to me. Yesterday, I did a video about all these bands that don't have any original guys in them. And people are arguing, is this the real band? Is it not the real band? And people are still going, they're still going to see the show and they're paying a ton of money to go see the show. It's crazy. And I think this all stems from, the Springsteen issue stems from, who came along to replace Bruce Springsteen? Seriously, who came along? Now, maybe I don't want a Springsteen replacement, but who was the up-and-coming Springsteen that replaced him because he was getting old and did music like Bruce Springsteen and who could attract a huge audience? Now, you may come up with a name, and I'm going to go, okay, but that person, they didn't replace, it wasn't on the radio. There wasn't a torch passed. There wasn't a baton that was given. It's just all of these old geezers know that they have a monopoly, that their whole existence right now is a monopoly for the reasons I've spoken of, because they're a dying breed. They're literally a dying breed. So people are like, oh, I got to hold on here. I got to hold on. Even though I can't sing, I got to hold on. And it's like, no, you got to let go. So let go and let someone else come along and do this. And for all those people that want to be nostalgic, you got your CDs, you got your cassettes, you got your LPs, you got your streaming services all lined up and ready to go. You got your folders over on Spotify. Somebody told me that they had an RMO folder. I was flattered by that for some of the new stuff that I throw out there to people. Bottom line is, people, these tickets are expensive. The whole experience could be a nightmare. There was a traffic jam. I remember in North Carolina trying to get to a Paul McCartney concert. People couldn't even get to the stadium, and they spent all this money, and they're not going to get refunded. It's their fault. They didn't get to the stadium. They didn't helicopter in. They didn't book the hotel a week in advance and, hang out there and then walk down to the stadium and, get in line early enough. I mean, this stuff is just getting out of hand. And we didn't really have these problems when I was younger. Yeah, there were some packed stadiums, and sometimes there was a crush of humanity getting in and out, and it wasn't the most comfortable situation. But again, I was younger. I didn't really care. Now I care. I don't want to go through that. It's not worth it. And you would think most Springsteen fans, if they're hanging on to Springsteen, why would they want to go through that? Well, I got to go see Bruce. Bruce is the only one that I align with politically, and he gets me. He understands. All right, go see it. Go spend. And most of these people are rich and snobby. They're not. I'm not saying all of them, but this isn't a working class lunch pail audience. Most of those people are going to see country music concerts. Let's just be honest. Some might be going to see old time classic rock bands that aren't as famous as Bruce Springsteen. I don't know. Or they're just abstaining. That's a new thing today. You can actually abstain. I'm just putting this out there. And this goes through, for a lot of different things. If you don't want to get a certain disease or whatever, you can abstain. You don't have to do it. You're not forced to do it. We're supposed to be a little higher up on the food chain than, certain creatures out there. But I don't know. I'm off on many tangents here, so I better stop. I'd like to thank everybody for watching the video, right? And for subscribing to the channel and for just being here. Also, all you patrons, you give me a lot of stuff all day long, good inspirational conversations, just shout outs. And that is very reassuring, because sometimes, you're walking through life and you're thinking to yourself, am I the only one who thinks this way? It's an Aaron Lewis song, right? Am I the only one? And there are days where I wake up and, I've got a decent wife who thinks on these lines like I do, but you walk through life and you meet people and you're like, they don't even know. And you just know that they don't know. You can just tell. And it's just sad. So all of this about Springsteen leads me to the conclusion that humanity has lost its collective way. And you should probably save your money, stay away from high-priced concerts. We are in a recession, whether they tell you that or not. It still costs, even though gas went down a little bit. That's because people aren't driving, right? They said, well, I was going to drive, but I'm not going to drive. And so there's probably a little bit more supply. So that's how that works. Increase in supply, drop in price, right? So, save your money. You need food. You need a nice, decent place to live, hopefully. You need to be able to pay your electric bill, which went up. I mean, if anything, they should be giving these tickets away. They should be encouraging fans to go. And, Springsteen, if he's this charitable soul, right? Like the old Democratic Party from like 50 years ago, whatever. If he's this real charitable soul, then he should be doing like an Oprah thing here and just giving some tickets away. Like, hey, $10 tickets for everybody. Like they still wouldn't make a profit from that. They would. They just wouldn't make an obscene profit. And I'm not trying to sound like a socialist here. I'm just saying this is a concert and a lot of people right now are hurting. So to have this kind of publicity in the midst of this does not look good. Just doesn't look good. And yeah, the manager tries to diffuse this, but even at $262, it's just, it's ridiculous. All right, people, I'm done. Well, what do you expect? What do you expect? I expect cheaper tickets, under $100. How's that? Should be under $100. I think that. And who are you to set the fair market value? I don't know. I'm just some guy who's looking at the value of a concert ticket and thinking to myself, yeah, it's not worth it. It's just, for some people, it might be worth it. For me, you gotta do better to get me to go. You got to try harder. And this is just the opposite. All right. I keep saying I'm going to stop. I'm on a roll. So I even though I should stop, I could keep talking. I'm going to stop anyway. All right, people. Thanks. See you soon.